Hello, welcome guys. Before we get started today, I just want to give a huge, massive shout out to everyone who was at the game last night at Ibrox. Ibrox was rocking. The fans were the 12th man. They made it Fortress Ibrox last night. And I think it's no secret that the players and the manager both spoke about how fantastic the crowd was and how it inspired them and gave them extra energy. So if you were there last night, you were amazing. Thank you for your phenomenal support. Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host Owen James, the channel that brings you your team every single day. We're going to talk, obviously, about last night's game. You know what? A disappointing result in the end. I honestly think we should have won that game. We deserved to win that game. I'm not saying it was the players' fault, but I'm not saying I'm not going to slaughter the players for it because Spurs are a very good side, but it's a game that we could have easily won last night, and I think the players were disappointed, as was the manager, not to come away with all 3 points. But we'll celebrate the positives from last night's game. In addition to that, as well, we're obviously going to touch on a possible incoming from a Scottish club, a young Scottish player arriving in January, possibly, and then maybe a departure of an Ibrox star in January as well. We'll talk and touch on that. But obviously, we've got to start with last night's game. Rangers won, Tottenham won. Hamza scoring yet again his 4th goal in Europe this season, his 5th goal of the season. The lad certainly is becoming a special talent, as we were told he would become. That goal was then equalised by Kulusevski of Tottenham. Tottenham, I think, would have actually had a penalty had Kulusevski not scored for Tavernier's foul on James Maddison. But overall, a very good performance by the boys. Probably one of the best of the season. I mean, the statistics, we outshot Tottenham 6-3 with shots on target and 15 shots to 12 in total. Yes, they had slightly more of the ball than us. Passes wise, they passed the ball a bit more than us due to their increased possession. Pass accuracy was good. Fouls were equal. Corners were equal. So, very much on the measurables, we were the better side in terms of chances created. We just didn't obviously put them all in the back of the net. But look, for me, if you look at that team that started, I think there was, first of all, from the get-go, there was a surprise. I think, we'd all kind of predicted the lineup. None of us had predicted Ridvan and Hjefte playing together. And I don't think any of us would have predicted, certainly would have predicted us with Ridvan playing the further forward of the two. I think if you were going to call it, you'd put Hjefte further forward. But well done to Philippe Clement for changing things up a little bit and adding a little bit of a random move in there a little bit. A little bit Walter Smith-esque in the way he did that. Obviously, nowhere near as great as Sir Walter, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm getting at here. But I think from 1 to 11 last night, the performances were absolutely excellent. I think the only player that perhaps wasn't excellent last night was Nadim Bayrami. He wasn't great last night. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great. I thought Proper had probably one of his best games in a Rangers shirt last night. John Suter, I really hope there's nothing seriously wrong with him. I mean, hearing him and then seeing him hobble off, just your heart sinks, doesn't it, when that happens? Our luck with injuries, and the fact we've got the cup final against Celtic, losing our best central defender does not fill you with a lot of hope, as does Hamza going down injured near the end of the game. Hopefully, again, that is not serious either. I thought Hamza was great. We'll talk about him a bit more. Nick, we'll talk about we'll talk a little bit more as well about obviously Raskin and Diamande. I thought Czerny was class. I thought Tavernier did very well last night. Well done, James Tavernier. Good performance last night from him. Hjefte was probably the best of the two fullbacks. Quality from Hjefte from the start. Right, so looking at it, in terms of the game itself, I thought Rangers played so well. They used the ball well. They played with high energy. They moved the ball quickly. They pressed well. They did particularly all the stuff we've been looking for them to do, and we've been crying out for them to do all season. And yes, we have seen it more in Europe. Of course we have, because when you play in Europe, you play against teams that actually want to play a game of football, that don't want to turn the game into a fight. Or some sort of thing resembling a football match, which pretty much resembles rules street rules when you come up against the likes of St Johnstone, Hearts, Hibs, Dundee, etc., in the Scottish Premier League. But look, you've got to really shout out last night the performance of Nicholas Raskin. I thought he was absolutely first class. Now, if you take the example of the fact that there was England international James Maddison on that park, you look at that Tottenham starting lineup tonight, and you look at the players they had in their midfield tonight, and you look at the fact that that is that Tottenham team is, yes, I know it's 11th in the Premier League, but it's still a top team in England. It's a team that beat Manchester City 4-0. It's a team that beat Aston Villa 4-1. But, you've got a German international in Timo Werner who was hauled off at half-time after a pathetic first half, something apparently that Ange Postecoglou told him. James Maddison, an England international. Bentancur, top player. Bissouma, another top player. Brennan Johnson, another top player. These are good footballers, very good footballers. And Nicholas Raskin absolutely dominated the lot. He absolutely owned the show, and he ran it. He was absolutely brilliant. I mean, people have criticised Nicholas Raskin in the past for talking about his desire to move to the Premier League, desire to move to Chelsea, whatever. But I'll tell you this, if he keeps performing as he is, he won't be at Rangers much longer, unfortunately. He will be getting a big money move south of the border, which will be bad for us from one aspect, losing a top player like Nicholas Raskin, but good for us in the fact we'll get a big, massive payday for him. But look, in the short term, we enjoy Raskin. He's come back. He's back to the Raskin that we all knew he probably could be. And he's a quality footballer, and he is every bit that quality six that we have been crying out for. I mean, if you look at his and Dio's stats from last night's game, Raskin had a 92% pass accuracy, won 100% of his tackles, and won 6 out of 9 of his duels, so 2/3 of his duels. Dio had a 91% pass completion rate, created 3 chances, and won 4 out of 7 of his duels. A top performance by those two. I think those two really playing themselves into reckoning for the Old Firm game on Sunday in the cup final. Dio, coming back to form finally, perhaps been the Dio that we all hoped he would be after a pretty dry spell for Dio, and not the best performance, but last night, an excellent performance from Dio. But, we can't mention last night without mentioning the goal of Hamza Igman. This lad just gets better and better and better. I mean, there was the nutmeg, there was the skill, it wasn't just the goal. I mean, great ball in from James Tavernier. Well done, Tav. It was also, it was his all-round play, his hold-up play, the way he worked that inexperienced, Tottenham defensive Dragosin and Archie Gray, who I thought was quite good last night. Worked them over, didn't he? He absolutely worked them over, and his ability it's his movement. It's the fact that he doesn't just stand up against the last defender like Dessers does. And the other thing about Igman that I've noticed is this: when he gets kicked and pushed and whatever, he doesn't fall on his arse and moan like Dessers. He just carries on going. He rolls with the tackles, sort of Messi-esque from that aspect. I mean, he's not. I mean, I'm not saying that he's Leo Messi. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean the way that he doesn't go down, the way that he rolls the tackles, very much what Lionel Messi does. Messi wasn't, has not. And has never been like Cristiano Ronaldo in terms of throwing himself to the floor when he gets breathed on. So, Hamza Igman, for me, is really maturing into that top quality player that we all hoped he could be. And the goal last night was great. He took the goal so well last night. I mean, you've got to say, no matter what you think of the manager, no matter what you think of the players, no matter what you think of where we are as a club at the moment, last night, performance, we went toe-to-toe with one of the top English teams. Yes, Tottenham are 11th, but they're still a good English team. They're still a good team. They've beat Man City, they've beat Man United this season. They've beaten Aston Villa, they've beaten some good clubs this season. And as we say down here, it's such a Spursy thing. Spurs are the kind of notorious underachievers in English football. They're a team that on their day can beat anybody, smash anybody to bits. But yet on their day can lose to absolutely anybody. They are the most inconsistent team in the world. It's very Spursy, is kind of a saying down here. But look, overall, I thought the performance was good, the movement was good, the passing was good, the quality of play was good, the delivery was good. I thought everything was good last night. I thought it was a very, very fine performance. from the boys, and they can hold their heads up, really high going into that cup final. We've got to take that performance and build on it. We can't have another tired, lackluster Sunday performance like we've had in the past. We need to see a top performance on Sunday. A performance of that caliber on Sunday, with that effort, with that energy, with that ability, we'll beat Celtic. We'll absolutely smash Celtic. Honestly, I believe that if we play like we did last night against them, they won't be able to handle it. They're not as good as Tottenham. They're nowhere near in that sort of bracket. So yeah, for me, you've got to say this is a team that could, with the additions of Tanio and Hadji, beat Celtic, definitely. I mean, let's look at the Europa League standings going into the final two match days. Obviously, next up, Manchester United, who have just moved above us after their win away in the Czech Republic against Victoria Plitzen. Erasmus Højlund goal winning the game for them. Rangers sit 8th on 11 points, same as Tottenham on 9th, who are behind us on goal difference, and FCSB, who, let's face it, look shocking against us on 11 points as well. So at the moment, as it stands, we are in the automatic spots. We would not have to go through another playoff round to get to the next round of the tournament. I hope it stays like that, with Manchester United away and Union Saint-Gilloise coming up for Rangers. But you certainly, if Rangers perform as they did last night, you'd back them against anybody. You really genuinely would. I mean, yes, there are a few elite teams in this tournament. You've got to sort of worry about Lazio and Athletic Club, for example. But overall, you look around us at the teams around us, and I think, playing like we did last night with the Ibrox crowd behind us, anything is possible. Genuinely, anything is possible. Guys, let me know your thoughts on last night's game. Let me know your impressions of last night's game. Would love to hear your feelings and your ideas. I've got to say, for me, my man of the match last night was Nicholas Raskin. We have got a man of the match poll on the channel. Please vote in it. But overall, you've got to say the quality was good. The performance was good. It was all there last night. Well, I want to just touch on a couple of other stories before we conclude the video today. One is a possible departure and one is a possible arrival at Ibrox. So what are the? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what are these arrivals and these departures? So first of all, we're going to deal with a possible arrival. According to a number of media sources, Rangers are interested in the services of Keelan Adams. The right back from Falkirk, 23 years old, young, promising, talented, up-and-coming player. He is a very, very good footballer. Now, according to reports in a number of sources, Adams has already been scouted by Rangers scouts who've been up to watch him play. In the Championship this year, he's made 16 appearances, scored 3 goals and 3 assists, so 6 goal contributions from right back. He's played in 100% of the minutes and 100% of the games for Falkirk this year. He is an out-and-out right back. Now, you may be thinking, well, why right back? The guy's under contract till 2026. He's going to cost a little bit of money. I mean, not a vast sum of money. I mean, he's only valued at around 150,000 at the moment. I mean, you'd be looking at a bit more than that, obviously, between Rangers who are calling for him. But, his overall record this season, 8 goal contributions for Falkirk. He's seen as a very talented, very up-and-coming young player. Now, I know what a lot of you are going to be thinking is, oh, it's Falkirk, not great, whatever. A little bit of background on him. Apparently, at the age of, I think he was 12, he was released by Rangers. Rangers were actually released him. We had him as a kid, but released him, which is obviously, just comes back to haunt us now. And it's not just Rangers who are looking at him. Apparently Leeds United and Swansea City of the English Championship are also looking at Adams and rate him very highly. But it's felt that, with the probable moving on of Tav at the end of this season, the return to Feyenoord of Cass, and also the fact that Dujon Sterling, with his injury history, cannot be relied upon, we could certainly offer Keelan Adams more of a path to the first team than, say, Swansea or Leeds United could. But, certainly if clubs like Leeds and Swansea are looking at him, he's not rubbish. He's certainly not a player that, you kind of dismiss. And I think one of the things we've always had, at Rangers has been a kind of snobbery towards Scottish players. We've got to kind of get away from that. So, if this lad is as good as as they're saying he is, he would be a quality addition to the team, and he's got to understand all those things. So, well, look at him. well worth a view. Let's see what there is in Keelan Adams. Now, the departure you all want to know. The player who's been linked with a departure in January is Rabbi Matondo, the man who flatters to deceive, the super sub, the man whose feet move faster than his head. Speedy, quick, had a great game against Ross County, but other than that, he has flattered to deceive. Yes, we've had performances from Rabbi that have been quality, but he's never really lived up to what we thought we were buying when we bought Rabbi Matondo. Also, his injury history isn't great as well, so there's always that that desire, I think, to move on sick note players who are constantly missing games. Now, last summer we turned down a last minute bid from Norwich City for him. Norwich were thought to be very interested in taking Matondo to the English Championship. Leeds United also allegedly linked with him as well. So, there's been a number of Championship clubs already interested. Now, according to reports, again, there is stories in the English media that Championship clubs are again looking at Matondo now. He is getting himself back to fitness. This would certainly be another case of hand to mouth, wouldn't it? Let's sell Matondo, get a few million, use some of that to buy Adams, buy somebody else. I think that would be the intention. And I think, with the exception of a few players, everyone is for sale. Everyone can be purchased at the club at the moment. I think there's a genuine fire sale when it comes to some of these players at this club. By the new board and by, obviously, the guy who's the new chief executive. So, look, I mean, there's a lot to do, but Matondo out, possibly, could well happen. So Keelan Adams in, Matondo out. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Right, guys, also, 16th of December, Patrick Stewart starts as the new CEO, inundated already. Karim Varani, who's been doing a great job as head of commercial, has left his post to pursue new enterprises. Now, again, that's another top executive leaving Rangers. Why are we losing so many, guys? Why are we losing so many? A lot for Patrick Stewart, the new CEO, to get into place. He needs a new head of commercial. He needs a new chairman. He needs a number of things, and he's going to have his work certainly cut out for him at the club. Guys, let me know your thoughts on the stories we've covered in today's video. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. On the way out, please smash the sub, smash the like, and remember always, we are the people.